One of my most poignant moments at Twitter was Dick Costello, the CEO, asking if I could verify that a tweet was real. And then I look at the photo, and the photo is a police officer standing in the street and a black body on the ground. The image of a white police officer and a black body on the ground just says so much, and it impacts, my very soul. I didn't know that was Michael Brown. I didn't know that was the start of everything.
What do we want?
In a suburb of St. Louis, a police officer shot and killed an unarmed black teenager.
I was an engineering manager at Twitter. Twitter was ground zero for the Black Lives Matter movement. And yet any attempt to increase the representation of African Americans at Twitter were stopped. I left Twitter due to the moral issue that you're building products and services that are impacting tens, if not hundreds of millions of people, and you're not representing them when you're creating this. It is almost, in some ways, typical of being black in America, because you do live in two different worlds. And these were two different worlds of mine crashing together on almost a daily basis.
Technology needs to be used for social good. It's not about an app that can get you pizza at 4 a.m. I think it's really about how do you empower under-resourced, underserved communities and actually solve a problem.
The billboard represents discipline, hard work, and vision.
We consider ourselves a design studio that works to empower students and entrepreneurs alike. You have a marketplace, one side, under-resourced students that need opportunity, portfolio pieces, resume experience. And then you have mom and pop businesses. They need ongoing design and marketing support, logos, social media, digital literacy. How do you connect the two and have long-lasting impact? And that's what tech needs to start thinking about. How do we make actual products that make a difference in our community? In the Fruitvale, we've been reaching out to 40 businesses that are Spanish-speaking. They need digital literacy help. For 3 months, each business is paired with one student. Don't forget to stay local. The people matter. Community matters. Don't forget what you're doing this for. Tech can change, tech will change, but it's going to take those champions at the top to understand the needs of the people in our community and to invest in those initiatives as well.
There is a huge problem in the tech industry with respect to women and fair pay and equal opportunities. So many women have been in situations where they have the credentials, they have the expertise, and yet they're not given the same opportunities as their male counterparts. The startups very often mimic the fraternity. It is a bro culture. And with the bro culture comes, unfortunately, a lot of blatant discrimination and insidious, or what we call implicit bias.
A jury of 6 men and 6 women found gender was not a factor in the firing of a former junior partner at a leading venture capital firm.
I represented Ellen Pao. She lost the trial, and many people say, do you think that's going to stop women from coming forward? And I would say absolutely not. I think in the court of public opinion, we won. It has really boldened women, and when they come and they say to me, this is the way I'm being treated, could you help me? 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I wasn't seeing so much of that. If Silicon Valley, the tech industry, the VC world can embrace diversity and inclusivity, they essentially can spread their power and the wealth. And we don't have a concentration of power and wealth in the hands of a few white men.
As a woman of color who is in a PhD program, I have the privilege of access to spaces that a lot of people have not accessed.
I began to realize that my achievements only have meaning if there is a pipeline of students coming behind me.
I tutor and I teach to encourage youth of color to pursue a STEM major and STEM-related career.
You still have two things that equal each other, right?
A lot of students may be pursuing engineering for the job that's coming up next, the amount of money that you're making. And so for me, especially through my tutoring, it really showed me that it's not just about you, but it's about making sure there's space for the next person to come. I do air quality research, and for my particular dissertation, I'm focusing on near roadway exposures in environmental justice communities.
This is measuring the concentrations of traffic-related air pollutants that are being emitted from this freeway. These diesel trucks emit black carbon, diesel PM, which is associated with cancer. And you have this vulnerable population of children being adjacent, which leads to high asthma rates, which is highly prevalent throughout East Oakland.
As an engineer, we say that we want to solve the world's problems or figure out solutions. To me, it's an injustice that needs to be addressed and kind of adds fuel to my fire to continue to do the work that I do.
You want to see a scientist who built medicine?
In every zip code, there's a genius, but opportunities, unfortunately, are not spread equally among all zip codes. What Genius Plaza does is to not only be able to reach those geniuses, but also to be able to give them the quality education that they deserve.
Claudia, since she was little, she wanted to be a doctor.
So when they join the platform, they choose their avatar based on their career goal. And their career goal will show them their starting salary of that career, a little description of what that career does, but then it shows them professionals who look like our kids in the Title I schools who are doing that profession.
At first, I didn't even know I wanted to be a scientist.
Research shows that when a child identifies himself or herself with role models that look like them, they learn better.
We have these like this.
I don't look like your typical CEO. The whole, venture capital world was completely new to me, and I was completely new to the venture capital world.
Venture capitalists have the purse strings, and that is the time when you can make conditions on your startups. If an investor is saying, we want you to have an equal number of men and women on your board, we want you to have people of color, we want you to be inclusive in your hiring, then it can get in their blood, so to speak. So it becomes, instead of systemic discrimination, you can have systemic anti-discrimination.
Instead of trying to pull talent into Silicon Valley, why not just open up a 500-person office in Detroit or Baltimore or New Orleans? Because those are cities that have such a high proportion of African Americans, have a high proportion of Hispanic, higher proportion of women in engineering, that you will instantly change your ratio.
Imagine everyone having access to the same opportunities. It would be way better for the world to give us all a chance to fight for and solve the problems that are affecting everybody.
I see a world where people respect each other, and I see tech being the leader. When authentic diversity is achieved, I believe products will be better. I believe it can help young people of all backgrounds flourish. I believe the education system can be better.
Now is not the time to just sit aside. It is not about individual, but what is going to be your individual role within your community.